Hello, Africa. What is going on? Good morning, good evening, actually. Good afternoon, and welcome to our GitHub Africa event. I'm so pleased to be here. If you don't know who I am, I'm B-Dougie. I'm B-Dougie on GitHub, B-Dougie on Twitter. And that is, I almost did it right. And that is where my name is down here. So I am going to jump in real quick and introduce our guest. But before I jump in, I also want to introduce something I've been working on. So if you follow me on Twitter or on GitHub, you know that I'm really into GitHub Actions. So if you take a look at my screen, if you aren't aware, I have this site called B-Dougie Live. B-Dougie Live is kind of like my digital garden to sort of showcase all the stuff I'm working on, also my live streams. But the one thing I've been working on recently is actually organizing whenever I go live on stream, notifications in the Discord. And the way I've done that is I use a GitHub action. But real quick, I just want to mention this entire site is backed by a GitHub repo. So if you see organizing, streaming, well, please mind the UI. It's sort of not styled properly, but I got this working that's powered by a GitHub issue. So all that content that you see that's unstyled, it actually is a GitHub issue. If you're interested in learning more about that, I do have some content on my dev too about how I made this. But I wanted to also talk about how I use GitHub projects and GitHub Actions to notify folks on Discord. So in this repo, I've got a project board. Also, just want to point out this GitHub issue right here, issue number 89, you could actually go check this out and read as well, but I'll give you the cliff notes. So I have a schedule. It's called Schedule. It's a GitHub project. And here you can see all the stuff I'm sort of working on, all the projects I'm actively working on. And you can see here, I've got a column called streaming. So anything that's in this column, it actually gets notified to my Discord. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like too as well. So going back to the issue, I'll scroll down. You can see here, definitely check out the my Discord if you want to find the link. But it actually prints a notification here. And the way this works is this GitHub action file. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with GitHub Actions. If you are not familiar with GitHub Actions, definitely check out the GitHub documentation. Also, check out my YouTube channel, same name, B-Dougie. You can check it out. I do have some introductory content about GitHub Actions, as well as in the docs. We do have guides and links directly there. I do encourage you to check it out. I don't go line by line about how this works, but I will just point out that there's a cron job that goes off every Tuesday and Fridays morning. And I'm running a script in JavaScript. And then what it does, it actually uses another GitHub action, which is called Discord, well, Action Discord. And then it prints out this message using this title as well. So follow me on Twitter, follow me on Dev2. I'll do a whole blog post about this, but I want to share some of my learnings I've done just in the past week about GitHub Actions and looking forward to hearing your feedback. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and intro our new guest. I always love talking to folks from Africa and learning from them. We have our first speaker, which is Namaara Racheal. Sorry. We have Namaara Racheal, and she's coming from Uganda. She is a software engineer at Ensibuuko, which maybe I've said that correctly. You could correct me when we get started. Yeah. Nice try. But yeah, you're going to be talking about contributing to open source. So I'm looking forward to learning about this. So please take it away.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this show. My name is Namaara Racheal. I'm a software developer at Ensibuuko. So today we'll be sharing on how to contribute to open source. Yeah. So yeah, my name is Namaara Racheal. I'm a software developer. I'm a software developer at Ensibuuko and Women Tech Group Ambassador. So today we'll be sharing on how to contribute to open source. So yeah, let's dive in. So yeah, before we discuss on how to contribute to open source, why should we contribute to open source. There are so many reasons why we should all contribute to open source. I listed few reasons, but there are more reasons as to why we should all contribute to open source. Yeah, one, that desire to share can be a powerful motivator. It gives you a great start, especially when you're beginning, when you're starting out your career as a software developer or a programmer. It's really good to be open to those open source projects. For starters, you don't have to fix code or to write a feature or to do anything. You can start by maybe fix the documentation or updating the README. That's a really good start for you to go ahead. Then it builds your resume. So by building your resume, I mean we are in kind of era where the recruiters don't have to come to you to ask for your CV or what your report was at school or anything. They just have to come to your GitHub, check your report, check your history, and that's a good start for them. So you contributing to open source is really a good practice for you, because it's going to build your resume, it's going to build your career, it's going to give your career some sense. So I really encourage everyone who, especially those who are still looking for jobs, who are aspiring to get like in tech industry, to contribute to open source. Yeah, and it gives you practice with Git and GitHub, which is a valuable skill and sharpens your programming skill. So there's a difference between GitHub and Git. So GitHub, that is an open source where everything is stored, like the UI, the GitHub UI, and then the Git is the command line, the version control command line, where you can contribute your code, you can push your code and do everything in the command line. And then it helps you build relationships in the open source community. Here, I mean, if you're working on a project with different kind of people, let's say different people in diaspora, it gives you the confidence, and you can build a very good relationship with people around the world in the tech industry. So that's a really big deal. Yeah, and it also feels good to give back to the project that you use. For example, you can right now start contributing before we dive into why we should contribute to open source, what are the benefits of contributing to open source? It gives meaning to your work. Like how I said, it's going to build your resume. You're going to interact with so many people. You're going to learn from so many people, and people are going to learn from you. So it's a win-win situation. So I really encourage everyone to contribute to open source. Yeah, and then learn from the best in the industry. There are so many brilliant minds out there, and you want to be part of this community. So you, by contributing and sharing your knowledge, this is one way of you can learn from people can learn from you. Yeah, and then it builds your career. We talked about this, and there are some source projects that are paid for. These are part of the open source projects I've been part of, Google Summer, where students who are starting out, interns who are like new beginners in this industry. Then I've also been part of outreach, and I highly recommend it. You people, you should try it out. You get paid, and you'll be part of one of amazing projects around. Then Rose Girls Summer of Code. Yeah, so before you start contributing to open source, there are few skills that are needed. So right now we are going to discuss one of the reasons, one of the skills that are needed for you to contribute to open source. One is good knowledge and understanding of at least one programming language. You don't have to know every language on earth for you to contribute to open source. You can only be knowing, let's say, HTML or CSS. That's enough for you to start. And like how I've said, you don't even have to contribute as in terms of code. You can just update the documentation or update the README. That's a real good start. But at least you have to have some understanding or like clear knowledge of which language you're contributing to. And then you should also have ability to read code and interpret code. Assume someone came and wrote code and that person left work or he's no longer part of that project, then you come in like after 5 years. You should be able to read that code and interpret what's going on. So that's what we mean by ability to read code, especially written by someone else. And then ability to identify and solve problems because um, we are all here to solve problems. So before you even tackle into like solving a problem, you must first identify or know how to tell like, you know what, this is not right. Then we provide a solution to it. So those are, I think, most important technical skills that you need for you to start contributing to open source. Otherwise, you're fine. Yeah, so right now let's dive into what it takes for you to contribute to open source. We are going to go through step by step guide on how to contribute to open source. We are going to have hands-on on how to contribute, so bear with me. It's not going to take long, and yeah, let's enjoy this. So step one. So step one, you have to sign into GitHub, or if you don't have an account, signing in means you already have an account and you have to sign in. Or if you don't have an account, you can create an account with GitHub. It's absolutely free and you don't have to pay anything. So let me see if I can go to my GitHub and show you how to start from scratch on how create to create an account on GitHub. Okay. Okay, so I think I'm just going to take you through on how to go through this process. I don't have to show you like hands-on. We're not going to do like the hands-on practice on how to do it. So the first step is for you to sign up or create an account with GitHub, and then the second part is after you've created your GitHub account, on the right corner, upper right corner, you're going to see a button that says fork. Then you can tap on that button. So you tapping on that button, you'll be creating a copy of that project into your own GitHub. So let's say it's GitHub account, maybe it has like different different repositories, let's say maybe about 5 repositories on GitHub account. One of the accounts maybe is GitHub website. You're going to tap on that very specific repository you want to fork and copy that URL. So this creates a repository on your own GitHub account. I wish there was a way I can demonstrate you by showing you through my GitHub EJ. Anyways, so I think that's the process. So you tap on that fork on the right upper corner, then that copies the project repository on your account. Then after that, after copying that, you go to your terminal. I don't know what you'll be using, but you go to your terminal and you have to clone that fork. So at this point, we have to use git clone, then you paste in that URL of that fork, the one you downloaded from the GitHub. Yeah, this is going to take like 2 to 3 minutes for the fork to be downloaded into your local machine. After being downloaded to your local machine, the next step is to go into that directory, that very repo. So it really depends where you've downloaded your repo. So you can just use like maybe CD to that very directory or to that very. It really depends where your repo is residing. So you can use this to navigate to that repo. Then the next step before you do anything, you have to check if whatever you croned on your local machine and whatever you forked on your GitHub, the upstream, is really the same thing. So you can use the git remote -v to check all the current remotes, and if you don't see it, you can just use git remote add origin, then the URL of that fork, the one you copied, the URL of that fork. All right. So after that, the next step is, after downloading that, we are going to add the, so remember we already have the GitHub account, the fork repo on your account, and then we have the one we cloned on our local machine. So right now we are trying to sync the two to find a way of making the two communicate to each other. Or yeah, so you can use this command git remote add upstream, then you add that URL for you to sync that two, to make the one you have on your local machine and the one upstream to be able to communicate. Yeah. Then the next step will be, before you actually write any code, you have many projects, they have the readme. They have the readme, so you have to you have to go through the readme to see how you can set up their projects on your local machine. So before you can actually do that, you can, before you do anything, before you create a branch, before you start on working or writing any code or updating any documentation, you should do a git pull to pull the whatever is up online to your local machine, because sometimes you may find there's some latest code that was pushed and you have to have it on your local machine for you to start contribute. So it's really a very good practice for you to pull the latest code up there for it to match your local machine, the one you have on your local repository, before you do anything. So this is the command that can help you, git pull origin upstream, or you can use the git fetch. Either way it will work out. Yeah, so after putting the latest changes, now you can create a branch. You can create a branch. It's really a good practice, because most of repositories or projects, they have their main branch. Let's say maybe they use master branch or the dev branch, or they can call it anything. That's why I said it's really important for you to first read the readme file to know what they are using, or how you can set it in your machine. But that's why you can find out actually which branch are they using as their main. But right now we are going to use the master branch as our main in this demo. So for you to check out of that master branch, it's really a good practice for you to create a separate branch, so that maybe your branch can be merged into master after you've written your code. If you contributed anything, it's really a good practice for you to do it on a very separate branch, for you not to mess up anything, or for the person who is going to merge your code to know what's going on your branch. Because it can be really very hard for someone to, if you're using the main branch, let's say main branch or master branch, for someone to tell the difference, like what you contributed or what you added in your code. So you can use this command, git checkout -p, then the branch name. In this case, you're automatically checking out of the main branch. Assume here we are using the master branch. You're automatically checking out of the master branch, and then you're going to your branch. So in this case, I will assume my branch will be like maybe Racheal GitHub virtual event meetup. So this command will automatically check you out of master branch and take you into your own very branch. Or if you're not sure which branch you're on, you can use git branch to check all the branches you are on. You'll be able to see exactly which branch you're working on. Yeah. So after creating a new branch, yeah, this is where the party starts. This is how you can start contributing. So you can go use your favorite code editor. It could be VS Code, it could be Sublime, it could be anything. Now you start contributing, you start writing code. You start writing code, and after that, after writing code, you should be able to commit your changes. You should be able to commit your changes. So you can use the git add to add all your commits, to add all your changes. I wish I can go to my GitHub and I show you how to do this, but turns out I can't. So at this point you'll be able to commit. Oh, yeah. Okay, at this point, you'll be able to add all your commits, to add all your changes, and then the next step is to commit whatever you added. So you can use the git commit -m, then you can write, this is actually the message of what you are working on. If you're updating the UI, you can say updating maybe the header or the footer, or if you're working on back end, you can add anything, maybe updating whatever you are working on. So this message should be very descriptive enough on what you are actually working on, so like someone who is reviewing your code will be able to tell at least you're working on this or this. So this message should be very descriptive of what you're working on. If you're adding a header maybe to a website, it should be like this adds a header to whatever you're working on. Yeah. Then the next step is for you to push your changes. So at this point, you've already added your changes, everything. So you can use the git push minus u origin, then your branch name. We talked about maybe my branch name would be like Racheal GitHub Meetup. That would be my branch. You can use this command to push your changes. I would say you should always use this minus u for if it is the first time you're pushing the changes on that branch. And after that, you can always use maybe a git push. If anything goes wrong, you can force it, but I wouldn't recommend you to use the git push force. It's always good for you to use the git push for you to push your changes to the upstream to the remote branch. So at this point, you'll be able to create your pull request. So how you create your pull request, you're going to go to your, after pushing your changes, you're going to go to your GitHub account. You'll be able to see your latest push changes pop up. Then you can use that link to create a pull request. You can be able to use that. Yeah, you can create your pull request from your GitHub account, and then from there you tag maybe someone who's going to review your code or someone you are working on with this project to review your code. So you'll be able to get maybe feedback on what changes you need to make or whatever. So you can come back to your local repository, make the changes that were requested, and then you have to just git add and push all the changes. Yeah, this is what I mean. You can add more commits to all your pull requests, and you should be able to specify whatever you're working on, if it was maybe the requested changes, or if you're able to describe whatever you're working on, that's okay. It depends on what you want. Yeah. And there'll be some maybe discussion. This is where the discussions be going on, you and the person who's reviewing your code. And if all goes well, your code will be able to be merged to the main branch. It could be the master branch, it could be the dev, it could be whatever they named it. But at this point, if everything is fine, your code will be able to be merged to their main branch. And that's it. You've made it. You've been able to make your first pull request or to make your contribution to open source. Yeah, so that's it from me. Yeah, if anyone has any question, you can ask.
Excellent. Namaara, thank you very much for that that walkthrough, for contributing to open source. Pretty insightful stuff. And folks, again, starts with creating a GitHub account and finding projects that you like. So start there, fork it, and get involved. So Namaara, thank you very much. I'm going to introduce our next guest, and our next guest is Santo. Santo's going to talk also about open source. Santo is a Red Hat certified, actually Red Hat and Linux certified professional. And that's a double whammy there. Actually, not whammies, it's the opposite of whammies. But anyway, open source enthusiast, as well as a Zambian who initiated the Linux community. Initiated the Zambian Linux community as well. So I am super excited to learn all his insight about open source and also the Linux community as well. So Santo, why don't you take it away and teach us about more open source in Africa?
Okay. Good evening, everyone, from whichever part of the world that you're joining us for the meetup. Today's topic, it's all about, it goes with the theme, all things open source. And from my end, I've got a quick presentation that I'm looking forward to share with everyone that has joined us with this meetup. And I hope you enjoy it. And let's get started with it. And if you've got any concerns, I think they'll come at the end of the presentation. So let me just quickly share a presentation of a few things that I've prepared on my end. Okay, just trying to do a quick share of the presentation. Okay, yeah. So with the theme all things open source, I've got I've got a few slides, which I do hope that will give a quick highlight of all things about open source. And my name is Santos Chiwenga. I've got a quick definition here that talks about open source and what it is all about. The definition that I did share on this slide is given by bitcommits.com. So you can check out basically on what is all about open source if you do need to understand it or know more about it. A quick introduction about me. My name is Santos Chiwenga from Zambia, and personally, I am an ICT consultant, and with a focus more on open source solutions. Professionally, I am a Red Hat Linux Foundation and VMware certified profession. Apart from that, also, I am the co-founder of Living Open Source, a project that is currently operating in Africa with the mission to promote the use of open source and in most African countries. So a quick one, why do we need open source in Africa? From what I've shared here on the slide, basically looking at how open source is growing, or largely on what open source is giving out. We do understand that Africa has got a couple of challenges in terms of financial capabilities, and yes, with those challenges that Africa faces, we believe that open source sorry, I think I need to cool down. I feel I'm a bit on the rush. Can I begin again Brian? Hello?
You're good, Santos. Feel free to take it easy. You're doing great. Okay. Reset as usual. You know, it's always a challenge.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Okay, so my name is Santos Chiwenga. With the theme, all things open source, and I think with this theme, I've got a quick presentation that I feel I'll share with every participant that has joined us for this meetup from whichever part of the world that you're joining us from. So as I just quickly prepare my presentation, just bear with me. Let me just try to do that. Okay. I hope everyone you're able to see what I'm presenting on your end. So basically, what is all about open source? We've got a quick definition here. What is all about open source? And yeah, if you're looking for that, I got a definition from bcommerce.com. You should be able to find the definition of open source from their website. So a quick introduction about myself. I am Santos Venta Chivenga from Zambia. Currently, I am an ICT consultant. Basically, I focus more on open source solutions, looking at the gap that we do have here in my country, as well as at large in Africa. Professionally, I am a Red Hat certified, as well as Linux Foundation and the VMware certified profession. Yeah. Apart from that, one of the projects that I am a co-founder is the Living Open Source Project, which is currently operating in most African countries. I think as the presentation goes on, I will be able to share a few countries where currently we are operating in. So with the theme, all things open source, why do we need open source in Africa? I think from all those that currently joined the meeting, the meetup, who coming from Africa, we do understand that we've got a couple of challenges in Africa. Africa faces huge financial burdens in its ability to procure the licensed commercial products, which do not promote local skills development, as proprietary products are closed and they are used as. And I've given a few reasons why we do need open source in Africa. Some of the challenges, or some of the reason is why we need open source in Africa. With it causes a lower IT acquisition and operational cost to users, encourage innovation in the tech local ecosystems, allows for technology advancement in the local industry. Well, I think with the reasons that I've given, which just a few of them, I can outline a lot of them, but a few of them that I feel would capture your attention. These are some of them. And well, why do we have these challenges? Okay, based on the above reasons that I've given, which we feel if we went open source in Africa would be addressed. Below, I do feel that these are some of the factors that are affecting open source in Africa. So I can talk of voluntarism. To give an example, it's not a very easy in Africa to work with people, let's say, in line with open source. That would willingly volunteer to do something, which I feel is one of the challenges why we feel that why I feel open source as not really it's one of the challenges why I feel the adoption of open source in Africa has been a bit slow. Low awareness of what open source use and the case is one of also reason that is one of the factors that is affecting the slow adoption of open source. So yes, to share with you why what do I mean when I say low awareness? Low awareness is a case whereby people in the IT industry. I would give an example here, like locally here in the country where I reside, which is Zambia. Very few tech people know about open source. The majority, yes, people do know that they've heard about open source, but very few, if you go around in the IT industry or in the tech industry, know what real open source is. And I do feel if we somehow find ways to make sure that awareness is brought out and shared maybe often through different means, I think would really help also would really help with the adoption of open source in the industry or within Africa. Vendor lock-in in an existing contract. So the other issue that is affecting the adoption is the vendor lock-in on existing contracts. So what it is what I mean here basically is that you find that companies that provide IT services, let's say world-renowned companies, you find that when they come to Africa, they will give sort of a licensed services, and then customers or organizations will be locked into those contracts, will be locked to use those licenses. As a result, when this organization in the corporate side wants to move in or wants to migrate to open source based solutions, they will be unable to do so because they are locked. They've got contracts that are locking them in. Lack of collaboration and knowledge sharing. This is one of the challenges that I have come across and encountered. In line to do with open source in Africa. Sharing of knowledge is not something that is common. You find you easily find around. People want to keep the knowledge to themselves. Also, just collaboration. It's not easy to collaborate when you are working on an open source project. Very few people are willing to come on board and see that project work out. So I do feel if we collaborated more as well as be open to share knowledge, I think that would really help out in the adoption of open source in Africa. And then coordination in promoting local technological skills. I think this is one of the reasons as well. And then the big one, the big reason I think is lack of funding to open source initiatives. So yes, many organizations, let's say in Africa, don't feel they need to support open source. Well, for a couple of reasons. I think from the above given ones is that because they are not aware of what open source really can do. Or they don't really know what open source is basically doing or currently contributing to the IT industry. So when it comes to funding, organizations feel it unnecessary to fund these initiatives that are pushing for the open source agenda within Africa, as they feel like maybe it's just a waste of resources and things like that. So I do feel if organizations were more open to support or fund these promising open source initiatives within Africa, I think this would really make open source thrive as well as just grow within the continent. Going to the next slide, I'll talk about what we are doing to make a difference in Zambia as well as in Africa at large. So something that I would like to share with everyone that is attending the meetup or the GitHub meetup today. Yes, myself, or what difference am I making? Or basically about myself, from way back, I've been an open source enthusiast as well as just passionate, and I've been wanting to see something be done about open source within my country, as well as in Africa at large. So with those ambitions, I founded with a few other colleagues the first open source community in Zambia, which now is called Living Open Source Africa. So what is all about open source, or what is all about Living Open Source? Living Open Source, it's a non-profit organization with the mission to stimulate the growth of local economies by enabling people to develop themselves as open source professionals, as well as the use of it. Just to talk more about this project, basically what we're doing as an open source project, we do organize events in countries where we feel that we need to share our open source knowledge as well as our open source skills. We organize an event there. Participants, we do everything that is needed just to have that event take place in that country. And then we work with the local people. And then we train people in open source software in all directions. We talk of systems administration. We talk of programming. We talk of anything that has to do with open source. Basically, anything that we feel is necessary and is pushing the agenda of growing open source in Africa. So a couple of events that we've previously had, or I'll talk of the first one that was done in Zambia, and that was in 2010. The event itself participants of 200 plus, which was sort of, I worked on that project, and basically I organized it. So it was sort of an interesting project to see work out, well, looking at how people attended it, as well as the feedback that we got. It was so interesting, and we could see from that event that people were hungry to learn and know more about open source. We did a couple of events as well. A follow-up events that took place was in July 2019. We had 100 plus participants, and then we went to Kenya as well, where we had 120 plus as well. We went to Kenya again for a second round event, and then in Malawi, where we had 300 plus attendees from all different industries of IT, as well as anyway. One of the events that is coming up this year, it's the Ethiopia Linux event, which we are currently working on, and we've organized already everything, and just waiting for the dates, which will be taking place in May 2021. A couple of other projects that we're looking forward to host. It's in Botswana as well as Rwanda. I hope the pandemic issue allows us. But we've had huge response, as well as other countries that have invited us to host these events, looking at how valuable they are and how they are helping out to grow open source within these countries. So we are looking forward to host these events, as well as to other countries that have invited us to go there. I hope all things will allow us. So what are some of the activities that we do call out as loss, which we feel are helping us, or will continue helping us to grow open source within Africa? What we do currently, we do host online meetups or online events. So basically in these online events, we talk about open source. We teach people different areas of IT. We talk about how you can utilize open source solutions or softwares that are available out there. Programmers, they have to present if you're a systems person, if you are, or different areas of open source. We do host also monthly meetups, both physical as well as online. So in countries of where we are currently operating, let's say in Zambia or Malawi, what we do locally, we quickly host a meetup where we meet with tech people. We talk about anything to do with open source. And then, if it's online where people are unable to meet, we go online. We do host those meetups. We're talking about physical and online event. So currently, as previously I stated, physical events is one of the things that we've been doing and consistently doing in each year that comes. And we hope that, well, okay, going down to the, I'm sharing a list of the countries that currently we are working on, we are doing our operations in. So it's to do with Malawi, Zambia, Rwanda, Ethiopia, and a few other countries that haven't included here, which are sort of potential for us to take our community activities. This is I'm sharing this image. It's one of the first event that we had in Zambia. Yes, we've got we had a good number of participants and people who were learning about open source. So this was at the University of Zambia in Lusaka. This was in Kenya. This was the University of Nairobi, where we had a good event as well, where we shared our journey about open source. And yes, then this was in Zambia as well, where event participants were taking, we're preparing to take in actually a Linux certification, which is Linux Foundation Certified Systems Admin. So here they were just waiting for a few instructions, and then afterwards. This was in Malawi, yes, where we also had a good Linux event, which helped us to share our knowledge based on open source, as well as just evangelism in open source. This is Arena, one of a volunteer who came from UK just to share she felt that she needed to share the open source. She felt she needed to share her experience with open source, so she volunteered to come to Malawi actually to teach for free. Yeah, and yeah, it was an interesting to have her. This was also in Malawi. This is me when I was doing a lecture on Linux in Malawi. I think, well, I think this is all what I wanted to share with every participant, and I hope this was an interesting presentation, and hope we meet again. How to contact me, that's my email, as well as on LinkedIn, that's my username. And then we've got a website where if you feel like you need to check about the update of upcoming events and then anything else, or get in touch with me or anyone else within the people that are working on the project, you can reach me via the email, or you can go to the website and every information is provided there. If you do have any question, feel free to ask me, or otherwise, it's time for the questions now. Okay.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And we actually are going to have an after chat too as well in a Zoom. So folks, if you have questions for Santo as well as for Namaara, definitely check out down here. We have a GitHub discussion for your folks to, sorry, we have a discussion, a Zoom link that you can jump in there and we'll have a conversation. Thanks everybody. Thanks to both our speakers, Namaara and Santos, for sharing your experiences. Hope folks that you all sort of got lots of value from this, as Santos said, and definitely hit like and subscribe here on YouTube, so that way you'll get notified for future events, as well as be sure you're in the GitHub Africa meetup on meetup.com as well. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in the discussion.